Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here. We've got a really, really great show lined up for you today. We have the not so evil twin sister of Sky Daddy, cryptocurrency aficionado, Coin Daddy on. So we're going to talk to her about crypto. We are, of course, not going to be giving any kind of financial advice, just discussing what's out there on top of the massive amount of censorship we are seeing online and now in our real lives, the end of a lot of the mandates, but the continuing COVID 1984 nightmare, and so much more. You can find her not only on YouTube, but she is also on the platform you're watching right now, Rockfin. We are pleased to have her. Thank you for joining us, Coin Daddy. Tell us what's going on.
Hi guys, I am happy to be here for sure. And yeah, went on to crypto. Anyone who knows me from political Twitter, but I'm going on to CoinDaddy now, and I'm just going to start giving, not giving financial advice, just giving what I'm doing to maybe help you guys out.
Well, that's excellent. And I actually caught a piece of your broadcast the other day. I had to search everywhere to find out where you were actually answering questions. And then I saw that you were actually on YouTube, which is a plus, especially again in this really weird situation with a slight of the tongue on just about any issue that is politically relevant, and you can just be taken off. It's not a big deal to
Right.
them. I just got a copyright strike yesterday. I got it taken away, but it was so funny. People file against me all the time, but I go to look at what it is, and it is Eisenhower's military industrial complex farewell speech. Now, luckily, when you do something like that and they give you the copyright strike and you respond, you usually, when you just say it's absurd, you go, "This is absurd. This is the president leaving the office. No one can ever copyright this." And then usually it goes away. But they'll drag their feet on a community guideline strike or, a cyberbullying strike. And you've had an experience in Twitter where it's not like they even give you any notice. It's just like, "See you later. Goodbye."
Oh yeah. Oh for sure. Um, my first account, my first account, they gave me a warning, and but by the time that I think I had actually three strikes on my first account. My second account, I had no warning. It was gone within 48 hours. Like they reported me. The liberals, they have like liberals in group chats that like follow me, and they'll try and follow me wherever I go and mass report me. But yeah, I ran a blockchain on them, and now they're super pissed that I didn't make it easy to mass report them, and they're all showing their blocks and badges and like masturbating, like Sky Daddy blocked me, like fucking weird fucks, dude. But I mean, I get it. Like if I had such a fucking horrible, disgusting, repulsive, low value life, I would also see me blocking them as a highlight of their existence as well. So I'm glad I can make your day, you fucking losers.
And that's why I like her, because she pulls no punches. She says it how she feels it. And let's talk about that, because here's the thing: it doesn't matter what the relevance of your information is, it's always about selective enforcement and your reach. So a certain person can push a narrative that is acceptable, or even something that is trying to be pushed. You see it in the mainstream media, you hear it on television, it's in movies, right? And they can pretty much get away with whatever they like as long as they frame it a certain way. If you're effective in telling a very different narrative, people seem to gang up on you. A lot of those people that are blocking and banning you, those aren't even real people. They're like one person and there's four accounts. They all make sock accounts that are random. They talk with each other. They stir up this manufactured outrage, and then big tech takes it upon themselves to censor. And a lot of people think that, oh, well, big tech can do what they want because they're a company. YouTube doesn't make any fucking money, guys. It's not a company. It's not a profitable company. This isn't capitalism. It is another arm of the media military industrial complex. The same thing that Eisenhower warned us about, the same thing that just got a copyright strike pulled. Um, because they mask it. They act like it's not government censorship and that you're being bad and you need to be scolded. It's very Orwellian, and I know that you come from a military background. Did you ever see it getting this bad this quickly, like 5, 10 years ago?
Not this quickly. I did see it getting this bad 5 years ago. I did not. The timing, complete shocker. Now, and just seeing that, now I'm kind of aware of how quick things are going. that I'm not as surprised when they, like the whole financial fiat that we'll get to later, falling. Now I'm not surprised at how quick that's progressing. But no, I had no idea that we were going to get censorship was going to come in this quickly.
Well, I was watching Bloomberg International last night. I watch it all. I'm lucky that I have this way to watch about 3,000 channels. I'll go check out Canada. I'll go check out what they're saying in the UK. And on Bloomberg, the talking point right now about inflation is they're admitting to 7% and saying it's not that bad. Well, I got to tell you guys, I was at the Dollar Tree, my hotspot, the other day, and dude was pulling stickers off the aisle, and I'm like, what's going on here? And he was putting up the $1.25 sticker. So right there, that is actually a 25% increase. And the other truth of the matter is, I'm seeing in other places literally a 50% markup. Let me give you just a short example. I got a quick start across the way. It's 24/7. Not a lot of 24/7 things after COVID 1984. They used to have these Bomb 4 cookies for a buck on sale. You couldn't beat it, except for that you would, go into a diabetic coma afterwards. They're now $1.50 when they're on sale. Okay, that's a 50% markup on sale. I've seen the same thing in produce. I've seen the same thing in meat. So that part of the media lie and the reality that hyperinflation is just around the corner, is that why you've turned more to a crypto market?
Yes, that, and I wanted to be able to exist in ways that weren't as direct and rigid as I've been. Because a lot of time I break shit down and about the agenda. And again, so much respect to you, Jason. But doing this for just like a year and just seeing how many people cannot listen and just kind of want a savior, and they just want slavery. To me, I'm like, all right, well, I might as well make something that can help people resource wise. Because to me, I'm tired of trying to help them verbally. I'm just like, one thing, my job is neuromuscular therapy, and I love being able to help people without having to talk to them.
So wait a
Just
minute.
help them.
Let me stop you. First of all, stop it. You're extremely talented by talking to people. It's one of your greatest assets. There's so again, when I'm watching her, guys, when she's talking about, for instance, she's very savvy. When she talks about the blockchain, she's not in fantasy land. She's not like, this is going to be a disbursement of wealth. It's going to disrupt the elite. That's why we need crypto. It's decentralization. She's like, y'all, it's about slavery, but here's how you market it for yourself and you don't let them enslave you. It's a technology. It's benign. You can use it to empower yourself, or you can allow them to enslave you with it. And she recognized that immediately. I sent you that clip about the blockchain. Let's watch it with the audience, and then talk about how you are now utilizing blockchain technology again to even empower yourself and your mother. I think that's a really interesting aspect. But on a global level, let's not fool ourselves. This is it right here. This is the World Economic Forum. We'll have to read along with the lovely music. But this is a refugee camp, and it runs on the blockchain. They love you, by the way, obviously. Look, there are children in tents, and they shop at supermarkets without physical money. Great. Oh, and you're taking their biometrics in a camera, a la Afghanistan and the war on terror, for a world food program. That's great. Awesome. And it's literally a line of people in their slave line, and then more digital identity nonsense. I didn't make this. This isn't a parody. It's not The Onion. Passports, exam certificates, and financial histories. Everything. And then they show you like a broken, war-torn village. They're like, oh, they're often destroyed during the conflicts, but don't worry, we'll have all that information, and we'll be paying aid directly to refugees through these biometric fourth industrial revolution technologies. It's right here. And it cuts the fees by 98%. And then they show you a bunch of people literally on the ground. Like literally on the ground, living not in any kind of humane way, and they're saying they're going to help you with it. It's wild. Tell people how they can actually help themselves with blockchain technology without deluding themselves into thinking that all of a sudden they're going to be the next Bill Gates or Warren Buffett or crypto influencer. It's not about that.
Yeah. Yeah. For one, if you're going to get into it, and I suggest that, well, I can't give financial advice, but I definitely have. They already have chips in play. They're already creating, different prototypes, but trust me, they already have chips in play to where eventually you're going to have these to buy and sell any goods. So to delude yourself that there's going to be too big of a gate to where you'll be able to enjoy your profits is not going to happen. The first thing I'm going to do is buy land and livestock. And again, even with that, the people fucking government comes and takes land all the time without compensation. It is what it is. It's just about doing what you can, and being okay with accepting it. However, the DeFi lie, yeah, it's not going to help you. There's plenty of documents about what cryptocurrencies and what assets are already being utilized. You can look in banking documents. Ripple is in so many damn World Bank banking documents.
And
Stellar.
and let me stop you right there with Ripple. For the people that are not in the crypto space whatsoever, a lot of these things actually have utilities. They have half lives. They have a limited pool. In fact, Bitcoin, the original cryptocurrency, the idea is there is a finite amount of these things, and it became harder and harder to mine them instead of just trade them. Those that are just pump and dumping or looking at it as a crypto asset. Now, along came many other iterations of crypto, the second most popular, Ethereum, which allowed just about anybody to tokenize something. And, even before tokenization with cryptos like Ripple, they were not beholden to that. Ripple is literally the zeros and ones SDR, special drawing rights unit treasury I've warned about forever that they can print any amount of. And because of that, and they know it'll be controlled by banking, it has been adopted. I have a little bit of Ripple. Now, Ripple's so shady that you can't buy it on Coinbase anymore because the Securities and Exchange Commission actually has a live trial against it. Now, whether or not they work that out, we'll see. But people also have to understand this crypto space is very, very much like world markets in that you're hearing about the yen and the dollar and the euro and the pound. Well, I got news for you. Times that by 1,000, and that's how you're going to be able to keep up on crypto. So that's another thing that I think people have to really understand. But talk about that. They're adopting Ripple. You said Stellar. Continue.
Yeah, they're these things are already in play. So that's a very important what Jason's saying, that there's a lot of distraction coins. Like the majority of the market is a big ass distraction with no utility, no actual assets. They are to get the ooh look shiny thing person. Also, a Bitcoin, I just don't hold that much, because I don't know if they're going to make it the gold standard or if there's going to be a huge rug pull. If you're looking at certain things, you're seeing they are setting up a narrative where Bitcoin, who created Bitcoin, is a shady character from a foreign place. So if that happens, Bitcoin and Ethereum, also Ethereum, they're showing the owner with like Putin, and they said that he's been talking to North Korea and all these things.
Yeah, but
So
they
they're
won't tell you
saying
that Putin threatened to fucking nuke Europe the other day. Like
he
that.
literally
Like serious? No, he literally said it.
He said, "I don't want that." He doesn't want that. Gangster, bro.
But
Putin is so gangster,
the
bro.
other thing about Putin is physically he's about this big. He's like the Tom Cruise of world leaders, just so everybody knows, only he doesn't have to wear lifts because he's probably killed men by staring into their eyes with his cold heart. But when he said, everything he said was very genuine and very clear, and we haven't had that in a while. Another thing I love about you is that you talk about how you don't give a fuck about Trump, one way or the other. When he does something right, you say, hey, he did it right. When he does something wrong, you say, fuck that guy. But you say he's fucking hilarious. And he is.
Yeah.
And he is. I've said the same thing. That doesn't mean you don't fucking call him out when he's being a douchebag. And that doesn't mean that when he says something about the military-industrial complex, it's not important. Like, people live in their little left and right cultures, and there is no nuance anymore. And you have a lot of nuance, and that's important. Getting back to the currencies and pull under the rug, especially with the shady idea of digital currencies, what is the origin of this thing? We've known for a very long time that, especially with the consolidation of power and globalism, a digital currency has been preferenced. The reason I talked about an SDR a moment ago, a special drawings right unit, is because it was one of the highlights of what I used to discuss in InfoWars, because it was at a point where the IMF was like, you know what? We're not going to distribute dollars anymore as the base currency. We're just going to have a binary currency of zeros and ones, and we're going to put that into banks. They called it special drawing rights, and that has increased over and over and over again. And at the same time that was happening, Bitcoin appeared. And Bitcoin has this white paper, and it's Satoshi whatever the fuck his name is, or whatever, if you believe that. And it started as something that immediately got press, okay, one way or the other. And you can argue all press is good press, even when it's bad press, especially about something like that. And it moved into the realm to explode in over a decade. Now, like she says, certain countries have already regulated Bitcoin. So some have adopted it. We don't know what's going to happen here. We don't know what's generally going to happen in cryptocurrency. And I think that that's a smart move. So many people got in at Bitcoin recently at about 60 grand. It's sitting about 36. They lost a lot. Meanwhile, if you just found one penny token that was extremely volatile, but was in that 4 to 10 cents range, if you got in at 4, you had plenty of opportunity to get out at 10, not just one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know that you're following these things, and that's not financial advice, but it shows the volatility of all these other undercurrencies, which is probably a lot of pump and dump trading because they don't have the utilities, right? And money laundering. That's NFTs, guys. You know, educate yourself on NFTs. If you really think there isn't a ton of...
Brilliant. NFT is so brilliant that they would do that. Like, I'm so impressed. I didn't know where are all these people, the celebrities and shit, and bro, they're gonna use the fuck out of NFTs for storing value. Also, licensures. Oh, NFTs are gonna be fucking brilliant.
Well, the thing is with an NFT, and I know we're going all over the place for those non-crypto heads, but hopefully you guys are digging the conversation. Is sure. Like Sky is saying, this is all moving to digital. They want you to have some kind of a chip or an interaction and that type of currency. The Track Trace Database Society is already here, and now they're moving into the transhumanist fourth industrial revolution, the internet of you and not just of things. So when they talk about metaverse and these digital assets, yes, there will be stored value in certain, like when fucking Justin Bieber buys a cartoon ape picture for $400,000. That, because it's Bieber and it got press, and again, just like Andy Warhol and all these other things will be promoted, somewhere down the line that will be worth something. But at the same time, when you're watching $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 transactions on NFTs you haven't heard of, those are transactions for other goods and services, most of them very illegal. You know, no one gives a fuck about your Power Fist fucking unicorn fucking gif. You know, but $50,000, sure. Yeah, okay. Now, is that human trafficking? Is that drug trafficking? Is that arms? Is that illegal lobbying for politicians? I mean, there is just all of it. Exactly. It's all of it. So what are, you know, again, we're not giving advice here, but what are you personally doing for your mom in the respect of a crypto IRA as opposed to a traditional 401k? Because I think that's really important.
Yes. So I wasn't very financially literate for most of my life, being from urban poverty. It's not, you know, you really don't learn that because if in your urban poverty, lots of times the person before you, your parents were not financially literate. And so the cycle goes on. So I pretty much ended a lot of bad situations and being in debt due to being ill and having to put, you know, my living expenses on credit card. And once I just started to try and help my own situation and learn different things, and crypto came up. So I started making a little bit of money on crypto, and then I started making a lot of money in crypto, and I started thinking like, hey, maybe I can use it to supplement my income. So as I became more understanding of the financial system, because it's filled with agenda, and I've always loved agenda. So not having this variable I didn't understand such the big picture, because this is such, being financially literate and understanding this system, even if it's unfair as it is so important to be able to see what's going on. So I realized what happened to 401k. And I know my mom is a very traditional, like very conservative in the way of, you know, she's actually probably moderate politically, but she's conservative in the way of she's older from the 1950s. Like, she just always worked and put money in there in that 401k, did what she was supposed to do. You know, the American dream, right? Never try to break laws and shit. Like, one of the most outstanding citizens you ever meet. And which, you know, was a lot of friction for us since I'm not that person. But
how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have one brother.
Okay. Older?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Shout out Alchemical Himbo on Twitter. He used to watch you, and he was like, the fact that I used to watch Jason Burmis all the time and you didn't give a fuck about that shit, and now like you're doing podcasts with him is insane to me. I'm like,
Uh,
yeah, this is my homie. Like, it's one of my favorite people to go on with. Like, he's cool as
Well, you know
fuck.
what? I'll tell you what. That shows because listen, I'm not that big, but I've been at it for well over a decade, and I've remained consistent. And it just shows you that. And I've put out a lot of content, right? Like even at YouTube, there's thousands of videos. That doesn't mean people are watching me thousands of times or every day, but hopefully, somebody can catch a podcast or catch a piece of a documentary, and it just makes them think. And then they
Yeah.
have that conversation with everybody else. And that's why, earlier you were talking about how so many people are like, oh, save me, take care of me. I've never been that person. I don't even like fucking fame. I think it's the stupidest fucking thing in the world. It's so fucking annoying. Like, listen, that doesn't mean I don't like interacting with my audience and everything else, but it would be a nightmare if I couldn't walk in the street or go into a bar or be with my family fucking anonymously on some level. People don't understand that. People that crave that kind of stuff, that scares me. I'm fearful to ever get into politics, not because I don't want to help change things, but number one, I know I'm a human being and everybody's a hypocrite and I would hate to fucking betray myself. But number two, again, I don't want to put that on me and my family where I'm on television all the time or it's nightmarish. Okay. I just want to let everybody know I have no desire for that. I think that's
Hell
fucking
no.
weird, but you got to be your own hero, period. You got to do what you think. And honestly, the documentary thing, yes, it's effective. They take very long times. And just like you said, your brother watched me talking
Mm-hmm.
and talking about articles, and that got him going. Whereas a documentary, especially now with people's attention spans, get someone to fucking sit down for 45 fucking minutes and it isn't a Netflix binge. Good chance. But if it's a Netflix binge, they'll do it. It's a weird world we're in. And, talk about that a little bit because you're talking about your brother
Mm-hmm.
and basically not being your mom and
Mm-hmm.
not kind of why do you think you pushed back from that and why do you and at the end of the day the system betrays her and you're figuring it out for her, so go from
Yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna like finish the 401k thing, but that is ironic. But yeah, I after I learned about 401ks, I asked to see her 401k. I'm like, hey, have you seen your 401k? What's going on? I started learning about kind of the fall of fiat, and I wanted to see what I knew anything attached to the stock market is going to get fucked, in my opinion. Not financial advice, but anything attached to the stock market is done. So I was like, all right, hey mom, how much money do you have in here, and what's your return? So I looked at this woman's return, and she has a traditional 401k that's attached to the S&P fund. In 10 years, I think in 10 years, maybe she has 6% return. Like in 10 years, 6% return. Inflation is eating her shit up. I was like, oh my God, inflation's eating all my mom's lifetime saving. I'm looking at the amount. I'm like, you're never gonna be able to retire off this. You're like 62 now. So I'm like, okay, I'm trying to convince her to like, look, let me do a rollover. I want her to do a Roth IRA and just pay the taxes out front. But I couldn't finagle that
Hmm.
because I'm like, look, the money that you create off this amount of money, you do not want that tax, and you're going to be in a higher tax bracket. You want to do it now. You do not, and you're getting tax free. Like, I wish I could get tax free fucking short term capital without short term capital gains tax. I would love not to have to pay that shit. Like, so you're in a situation where you can literally do that, but I couldn't get her to do that. But if you would do that, get not financial advice, I would pay the money up front and just go to a Roth IRA. But she wanted to do traditional Roth IRA rollover. I would say, okay, fuck it, fine. Um, Pretty much in 6 weeks, I got her a higher return than she did in 10 years. I got her maybe 18% in 6 weeks. And then
Wait,
I'm trading
6 weeks?
in.
In six
Yeah,
weeks you got her.
yeah.
Let's repeat that. She tripled the percentage in 6 weeks instead of 10 years.
Mhm.
And the other thing is, again, I know we don't want to get too deep into crypto, but how does it work? When you're getting into a crypto type IRA, do you become a member of liquidity pools? Do you buy certain assets and then it goes from there where you're able to earn rewards? Explain that to my audience.
Oh yeah, you can earn rewards. It depends. Like, it's relatively new, so there's not as many defined establishment. I think the two most popular ones are Bitcoin IRA, and they have high ass fees. But I like, because she's very risk averse. I wanted to go with the most senior. company, so I went with that one. Excuse me, smoking.
Now get that Fiji. And by the way, everybody, thumbs it up, share this broadcast. You're watching it uncensored over at the Rockfin. And if you haven't followed Sky yet, she has a channel over there. You've put up a few videos now over there, have you not?
Yeah, I put up one video. I'm about to come out with another one soon.
Excellent, excellent. So continue.
But where the fuck was I? I'm so sorry. I'm high as hell.
We were talking about the reward system in the
the
type
reward
of crypto.
system.
Yeah.
So it's all different. And then iTrust Capital is the second one, and it has lower fees. But I haven't used that myself, so just saying. So with the Bitcoin IRA, they have a gold option, and that's what I use to store value. Because with a regular trading with my investments, I'm okay with letting it go down and whatever. Certain things I have ready to trade out of and take profits out of, and other things, if it goes down and I sell later, I'm okay with it. Because the things that I really know that I would just stack for later, but certain things I don't want long term, like any gaming coins, I don't like keeping them long term. I just like making day trades or swing trades with them. So with the Bitcoin IRA, I don't know how iTrust Capital is, but there's no buy limit and there's no sell limit. So I have to actually watch this shit, and also it takes time for the orders. So they're the custodians of it. You don't actually owe your keys like you do when you have your own, which I definitely do like. But also you have to say that it's more secure, as in it's like a crypto. It's more of a crypto. If cryptos had a banks, and it's kind of that type of safety. Like, yeah, our corporation safety, but it's kind of it's insured. So there's that.
Okay. So you've got your mother on this path. Obviously, you are also utilizing crypto in your day-to-day. That's your new focus on social media and whatnot. Are you still going to give your take on Julian Assange, on the wars, on the culture war, if you will? Because I think that you do have one of those unique takes where it's hard to silence you, because you're supposedly part, and I hate even saying this, part of marginalized groups. And I'm sure that you would hate to be even fucking considered marginalized in any way. As somebody who, I grew up on welfare, I grew up in the fucking WIC lines, all those things. I had the shitty shoes. And it's just like, I never considered myself marginalized. I was like, I can't wait to fucking grow up and do my fucking thing. I'm like, that's it. And I feel like even though you say you had a go of it, and obviously I know you went into the military, you've got injured by, won't say the words, and maybe that was a part of your process. But did you ever in your life feel marginalized? I mean, or was it more like at times you saw that people were just fucking fucked up and bigoted? I mean, or just closed-minded. I felt like that as a kid. You know what I mean? Like, the certain parents wouldn't want you to hang out with their kid because you were from the poor family or the wrong side of the tracks. And you pick up on those things. But it was never I felt marginalized. I was just like, I can't wait to get older and fucking just do my own thing and be around the people I want to be. I don't know. You tell me, what's your experience there?
I mean, do I think there's like, I think it's just complicated, and I just think none of us are like, there's no group that's not without the groups of racist and bigoted. It's just that, in other countries, yeah, there's just racism everywhere. It's human nature. So do I think it sucks being in a place where, do I think there's like cops? With cops, that's where I think it's one of the worst. Like, I do think there are more cops kill white people too. Like, they never talk about that. Because if they do, then too many.
I feel like it's poor people that usually get it. It doesn't matter what, like, it could be Hispanic, white. It really depends what neighborhood and what your social class is.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a variable.
Yeah.
And do I think that it's easier to get away with certain things with Black people than white people? Yeah, but honestly, I think that's been evening out. Like, I really do think that, and that's what's alarming. And they need to keep it that, hey, this is becoming all of our problems if we don't step in.
Well, I've always thought, listen, here's the thing. You can't have an occupation where someone's not going to abuse that power, or someone's not going to be a sociopath, whether that be the police, whether that be the military, etc. And unfortunately, sociopaths often rise to the top and get away with a ton of shit. So when everybody was like, oh, we need to defund the police, I'm like, whoa, hold on. But then when everybody was hashtagging back the blue, I was like, wait the fuck up,
It's both. It's like, look, it's both. Like, defund the police, and what are they going to do? Like,
I'll tell you what they're going to do. I should bring this up because I
Robot
tweeted it
dog.
yesterday. Now, they already kind of beta tested this in New York, and thankfully, New Yorkers said that's enough. We're not going to be doing that. But on the border now, they've made this border crisis. And of course, I don't have it up,
With
but
the robo dogs,
that's
guys.
right. It's official. They are putting the robo. And here's the thing, this is what I've tried to explain to people. The war on terror was also a time that we got to beta test our new technologies and not only biometrics, but also drones and warfare. We perfected the robo dogs. They were big dogs then. Now they're cute and they're named Spot. And they don't care that they're getting rid of nurses, police officers, people, because they know that those are the people that could think for themselves and probably had more empathy for human beings. Guess what? Robots take orders. They do what they are programmed to do, whatever that is. They already had the robots in Singapore during this. And by the way, in Singapore, it wasn't 6 feet, it was 3 feet because they had the fucking robots there to tell you. Okay? So, another alarming thing about crypto is in this blockchain technology, other than the refugees, they're also utilizing it for things called smart contracts to turn on and off real utilities. And for instance, are you aware that Cardano is directly linked to Sophia the robot's cousin, Grace, for nursing homes? Have you seen that?
No.
So let's show people that, because again, this is the fourth industrial revolution. We'll do it live with Coin Daddy. I believe I'll just type in Grace Robot Cardano.
But I can summarize the race thing. The same people who complain about oppression would oppress you. So whatever the hierarchy of fucking oppression is, do I think there is one? Yeah. Do I think that it means that every white person has privilege? More than no. Like, sorry. Like,
well, I'll say this. If you look at the generational families that are continue to be in control, although they are predominantly Anglo-American, you do have the Israeli power structure. You obviously have the Asian power structure that's been in control there as well. And then you really look at Saudi Arabia. I mean, again, those are in the Egyptian royalty. So it's not just exclusive to white people. However, you do see what I would like to call super nepotism. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's what the cartels do. It's like, all right, you can fuck around a little bit, but we're not going to fuck with the big game. And somehow these families have been like, seriously, should we be having a prince and a princess and a king and a queen prancing around in a first world nation in the UK, whether you think they have power or not? That shit is fucking absurd. Like, we got people playing fucking dress up and beyond the law. They get to rape fucking kids. Like the Andrew thing right now. Finally, they're going to hear some of that stuff in court, but it's all in a civil court. Oh, they stripped him of his titles. Ooh, fucking cares? He's not going to prison. Like, it's another class of people. That bothers me. Anyway, what you see behind me is Cardano enters the age of AI as it welcomes Grace, the AI robot designed to revolutionize global healthcare. And they utilized Grace in China and in Australia during COVID 1984. But the funny thing is that I constantly go to this NASA document and I talk about a guy named Dennis Bushnell. And he's still the head of NASA and Langley. And when he was discussing in 2011 at the Blue Tech Forum, I also play this video a lot, he says, of what the jobs the robots cannot do, there is none. And then he goes, we thought we needed humans for the nursing homes. And then we put the robots in Japan, and they like them better. And I was like, and everybody kind of laughs. And this is like 11 years ago now. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Everybody's laughing about the fact that when you're in the throes of your last point in life, you're not going to have the human touch of, if you don't have a family, of another human. Instead, it's going to be a robot. That is some creepy ass shit. And to me, a lot of this is about furthering yourself from that human connection and becoming self-absorbed, and the selfie culture and the self-importance of social media. And I think you call that out a lot. Speak to that for a second.
I mean, in a spiritual way, I'm trying to explain things without going to spirituality. But I just think like we go to the individual and then we go to homogeny. And I think that we're at a place where, people are very much craving individuality in the way of homogeny. Like we all know the liberals who are whatever the fuck, left, or people who get everything they can do and have all these different identities because they're trying to put up their ego, and it's just the self-absorption of everything. There's an entitlement. But when I look at, and I use it, those are the best example, but when I look at every groups, we all have this self-entitlement. We all have this entitlement of honestly not being on the food chain. Like if you we look at animals, and do you get mad at the lion for eating the gazelle? Like, does it help to be a gazelle that's getting mad at the lion? There's an entitlement, there's a self-absorption. And I think that now, because of social media age, I think it's always been like this. But I think because of social media, we're able to identify this more, and it's always in our face. And we have tools to kind of, before it was harder to get attention. You couldn't just sit there and be, oh my god, guys, I'm this type of label and I'm being held down by this, and that's rewarded. They have a system that literally rewards that, and it's literally creating a generation of people whose self-absorption is being rewarded by social media. Before, this wasn't as easy as a task, so it could kind of delay that or maybe sway that and give people time for intervention, or people would have to find other goals to create this validation on the inside. And social media just took that away. So then you lose that ambition, or the weak, they lose that ambition to do anything else except go and get that dopamine hit from being pitied.
And it's
And
wild because it creates a victimization kind of a mentality and a society. And let's go back to, like, if you're feeling a certain way and then you post it there and it gets 100 retweets or a bunch of likes. In reality, when that happened in a place called the 80s and mid 90s in my world, and you actually were upset about something and you didn't internalize it like a lot of us do, what you would do is you call a friend. And that one friend in you, it wasn't just a post and like then a, hey bro, hang in there, smiley face emoji. Instead,
yeah,
it was like, hey
exactly.
man, what's going on? You all right? You want to go catch a movie or
Exactly.
something? Let's go to the fucking Parkies and rent a VHS. Let's go laugh or something. Come on, let's go have some beers when you're older. And then you could actually be a human being, be around somebody else, and the endorphin hit was you're around another human that you like, and you're trying to work your shit out. And don't get me wrong, there was always that person that everything was going wrong in life, and bro, I just can't keep a job, and I can't keep a girl, and nobody likes. Sure, but at the same time, we would work out our problems. We would have human relationships. That's not there anymore. Everybody who's retweeting that and liking that in real life, they'd be like, fucking peace out, yo. Like, yo, let's see how the flips. They're not hanging out with you. It's not real anymore. And I think that's a
Exactly.
huge problem in how they've pushed people into what is a transhumanist movement in disguise with all these trans rights and promotion. It's not the sexuality they want to push. They want to push the zeros and ones, the non binary. They want to fool the youth into believing they have autonomy over their own body at 9 years old through medical injections. After all, if a kid can decide that they need a certain type of shot to get a disease that they probably would never have gotten, and if they did, wouldn't have killed them anyway. You know what I mean? And then a regimen of that, and you put that autonomy on them, all this, or you say you can pump yourself full of hormones at that age, no matter what. You can get them to believe, especially with the augmented reality we're currently creating, they can be a leprechaun riding a unicorn over a fucking rainbow that's shitting out gold, folks. And they can identify as that for one day, and then they can identify as a fire-breathing dragon another. And if they get them into that, that is this transhumanist motif where it will start virtually, but then it will go into where they tell them it will be a physical reality. And right now, the big push of that is through a guy named Elon Musk, a front man for DARPA and the military-industrial complex. This is news today. Elon Musk's Neuralink allegedly subjugated monkeys to extreme suffering. No fucking shit.
Yeah.
Like, no fucking shit. Here's the real thing, guys. We did that 50 years ago in underground bases like Area 51 with the same type of technology, not to chimpanzees, but human fucking beings. None of this is new. None of it. They procure it. It's been around forever. They've been torturing humans forever underground. And that shit's dark. And a lot of people don't want to realize that. But that is part of
Yeah.
our history, whether you believe it or not. It is recorded history. They have put brain... In fact, Bushnell himself, on tape in 2011, said they had already put brain chips in 10,000 fucking people.
That's what they tell you.
Thank you. That's what they tell you. And do you think the first person they put it in, it worked out great? Yeah, you don't think that person was tortured like a motherfucker? So, instinctually, Sky, you talked about this kind of hero worship, this cuck the world mentality for Elon Musk, and I think righteously so. You know, why is that? What's your take on Musk?
I mean, I think he was like a horrible actor. The fact that like he's so boring, the fact that they have such they're obviously going to make this dude the new god. All right, but the fact that they had such a boring lack of charismatic person for it, I'm just disappointed. But I don't have a problem with these people. Again, they're lions. I'm a were gazelle, and I'm gonna fucking maneuver around that shit and
You're
fight
a
for
weird
it.
gazelle. Yo, you want to be like a viper. You want him to be a lion, but you just want to like fucking neck him and then just
Yeah,
like fucking wrap him up.
so exactly. I fuck with that, you know. But I think they're his cult is stupid. Those are who are the retards for me. You know what I'm saying? He's doing what he's supposed to do. Those people are bred to go after power and to progress society in the way that they're supposed to do. Like, of course, it's the working class people who are just like, oh yeah, the richest man in the world has my best interests at heart. Like, you're fucking dumb. That's fucking stupid. I'm sorry. That is insanely stupid. It's like they don't see. It's like just like Bill Gates. It's just like the people who they were like, oh my god, how do you trust Bill Gates and all these celebrities? But then they're just trusting any fucking manufacturer idol that comes along. Like, what do you mean? You're the same person. You know what I'm saying? I just can stand you more because right now we're on the similar sides. That's it. But at the end of the day, if when Elon Musk starts fucking talking his shit and bringing in transhumanism, and I start talking against that, then we're going to be enemies again. So, I
Listen,
mean,
I don't consider any of these people my enemies. I've marched with Code Pink back in the day during the Bush administration. I love people like Cindy Sheehan, traditional liberals, traditional conservatives, people that actually believe what they say and have some principles. And I knew that things would flip because, as you've seen throughout history in this country, especially in the false left-right paradigm, they often give you a false savior. I knew Barack Obama was going to be that guy. He was literally the most unqualified president of all time. And the guy before him was also the most unqualified. Just to get that clear, George Bush wanted to be the fucking president of baseball. That's what he wanted to be. That's it. He didn't want anything else. He was running the fucking Texas Rangers. He didn't want to get into politics at fucking all. He didn't. And then fucking they already had Jeb in Florida. His brother Neil Bush got caught up in the BCCI scandal, the Banks of Criminals International. Okay, the one hooked into Bin Laden, the Iran-Contra network, all that. He was the Bernie Madoff of his day. He had no political career. So they said, listen, you're going to be the fucking governor. And then he announces that he's going to run for the president before he even has a full term as governor. Now, at the time, that was pretty ballsy. You know, you usually had to have some kind of political rhetoric. Barack Obama said, actually, Barry Soetoro said, hold my beer. Barry Soetoro,
yes.
he was a fucking state motherfucking senator when in 2004, they decided to put him as the keynote speaker at the DNC. He had not even won his actual Senate election. Senate term 6 years. He wins his Senate election. Less than 3.5 years into his term, he announces he's going to be the president of the United States. And he is, because Rolling Stone put him on the cover of a magazine as Jesus fucking Christmas, and everybody thought he was a rock star. Meanwhile, that motherfucker goes on to really be Bush number 2, and Bush ran nothing. I mean, that administration going all out in the fucking Middle East. Syria, hello, let's do it. AFRICOM, yes. More bombs, more drones. And all you Trumpers out there, guess what? He said, hold my fucking beer on the drones. You thought Barack Obama was the drone president? No, Donnie T, in 4 years, did what fucking Barack Obama couldn't do in 8. Those are the facts. And people, oh, Jason, you're throwing. Yeah, I'm throwing fucking Trump under the bus because he killed a bunch of fucking brown people without thinking about it and told you he was going to tell you the truth about 9/11. Cut a $400+ billion arms deal with Saudi Arabia days later. Yeah, I'm going to throw him under the fucking bus.
I mean, that's just so obvious, man. It's just so fuck. I don't see how you did this for 10 years. Like, I'm so
15.
I didn't figure out. And I was like, fuck it, let them be slaves. I don't care. Let me
No.
maneuver this shit. Like,
No, you know why? Because I have fun doing it, and I know you have fun doing it too, and that's why you do it, and you should. Because listen, you laugh about it. I have a good.
Yeah.
I don't let any of it get me down. I had that long ago. Like the 9/11
Okay.
thing, I was losing sleep. We're talking 2002. I was sweat. I lived in New York. You know, it was that much closer to home. I thought they were gonna bring back the fucking draft. You know, I'm over it. I'm having a good time doing it. You know, the truth is the truth, and reality is going to be reality, and you've got to navigate it, just like you said. You know, you got to be that person. So you have to understand that Elon Musk cut a deal that SpaceX can now just move any type of military cargo in the world in 1 hour on his fucking planes or his jets or whatever the fuck his rockets, because they're not going to the fucking moon, retards. All right, and then he put up DARPA's secret internet. That's what Starlink really is. It's blackjack. It is a total fucking grid right there in your face. That's what he's doing. He's not there for you. He doesn't care about you. He helped create PayPal, the precursor to digital currency, with Peter fucking Thiel. Elon Musk is not your friend, guys. I hate to tell you, but when Elon Musk says something correct, I give him credit. We talk about it. And then we talk about how he's really a demon. Like,
Daddy Elon loves you guys. Come on. Well, you think the richest man in the world would not love you? Of course he cares about you. He's here to save humanity. All right. And everyone always, what people say, well, he's better than the government, but then all his companies are fucking off government subsidies and contracts. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? It makes no sense.
And-
But he doesn't like Biden. Shut the fuck up.
I say, yeah, he doesn't like Biden. So I'm so glad that you said that, because when you're government contracted, you're basically an arm of the government, especially when you're dealing with technologies that are what? Classified by the Department of Defense. So you are now an arm of the black projects and compartmentalized society that was created post World War II. And that is exactly what fucking Google is. Okay? Everybody needs to understand that all the way back in 2005, Google and NASA partnered together for quantum supremacy. Okay? You're hearing a lot about artificial intelligence and quantum computing. They did that. And they openly, again, together, achieved quantum supremacy 2.5 years ago publicly. That, again, is public. That is what they are telling you. Now, do you think that's a private company? Do you think that it's a coincidence that Google also created Dragonfly, the censored internet in China, 5 years ago now, got caught about 4 years ago, and now our Google is censored as fuck? Like, do I have to take you on the baby step train? Do I have to be a slinky down a fucking staircase? Like, what do you think is happening? Google's not going to jail. They are a Trojan horse civilian system. This is how they are identified in actual government documents. Coin Daddy. When you think of the military-industrial complex, what do you think about, especially today? Because obviously Joe Biden isn't running anything. The only thing running with Joe Biden is the diarrhea down his drawers.
Yeah.
So when you think of the MIC, what do you think?
In what way?
Like when you think about the military-industrial complex, do you think it goes beyond just, okay, right now we're talking about Ukraine, right? Mm-hmm. And it's funny.
Like a hierarchy?
Well, of course you have opposing forces, right? A lot of people think of it in nation states. I don't necessarily think of it that way. I think of it as a consortium of business partners that aren't just at this point constructing weapons and drones and doing that sort of things, but also waging psychological warfare and building an infrastructure globally against the people. In other words, the CCP is kind of the model. They like that. You know, they're just saying they're against it while building the same thing here. For instance, I'm not sure that you're aware, but there was a bulletin literally 3 days ago now, and this is up.
Oh, yes. Can't talk about 5G.
5G, forget about that. What you see highlighted here behind me is absurd, but really even before that, there's something much more important. So let's blow it up for the audience. The highlighted portion says the proliferation of false or misleading narratives which sow discord or undermine public trust in U.S. government institutions. That, of course, is extremely scary. But what really is scary is that they include malinformation in this. Okay, so the United States remains in a heightened threat environment fueled by several factors, including an online environment filled with false or misleading narratives and conspiracy theories and other forms of dis, and malinformation, MDM. Now, just so we can declare what malinformation is, malinformation has nothing to do on whether it is valid, truthful, sourced, or documented. It just means harmful. So, so if it's harmful to a narrative that is harmful to the U.S. government, you can now be declared a terrorist for reporting factual information. That's because mis and disinformation should cover it, right? That means fake or misleading. Mal just means harmful. So when I think of the military-industrial complex myself, I think of Twitter. I think of Facebook. I think of the utilization of social media just as much as I think about drone bombs, the World Economic Forum, biometric scans of my eyes, and so on. That's my point. So what do you think about?
Oh, definitely psychological warfare. I honestly have no idea of the actual political landscape because obviously we know the narrative is false. And like, I just never understood how in the 1970s, the petrodollar, when it came into creation, I just don't understand how our economy relied on China for so long. Um, it just doesn't make sense. So I don't understand like the actual political landscape. I don't, again, everything to me is a psyop. But yeah, definitely psychological warfare is a huge thing. And TikTok is I heard someone talk about this, I can't remember. But I think it's brilliant because let's say that let's say China is our enemy, right? TikTok is run by China, right? And well, think about the algorithm in TikTok and what it rewards. And it's shaping the generation to, waste their time and, fucking rewards of little dance and dumbass shit. I know, right? And it's rewarding all this dumbass retarded behavior that's actually contributing to the next generation in detriment of society. I mean, wouldn't that be psychological warfare? I mean, it kind of would legitimize, again, the script, but Trump saying maybe we should ban TikTok because, I mean, it is fucking stupid in that aspect to let another country who you're supposedly having all these problems with and that you don't trust and you have a shaky relationship with, create these systems and whatever. But yeah, I definitely think it's all about psychological. I think that's way more that's where everything stemmed from. If they didn't have that aspect to it, the media, the news, eventually people would start talking and put together, hey, why are we sending our sons and our daughters to fight wars for benefits that we're not even seeing? Like things we would way be able to make sense that our similarities are way fucking bigger than our differences. But they need these and the algorithm, the data is everything. Like the data is what is everything. They get to predict our moves, our mental habits, our emotional habits. They get to program us with dopamine and stress and fear. I mean, that is the biggest thing ever. Social media was the greatest weapon that they could use. Like there's not the only thing physically power. It really literally nuked our brain. It was like a mental nuclear bomb went off. Because even I think about the indoctrination of disconnection and just dumbass indoctrinations and social habits I have in myself. I'm like, that's not even productive to what you're trying to do here. Like and I'm aware. The only thing is someone who's not looking for these things. Well, we're all aware to a degree, but I'm somewhat looking for these things. So I mean,
Well, listen, Bernaysian tools absolutely work on everybody. PR is there for a reason. We all succumb to some level of it. I mean, I've been wearing Adidas pants since I was 12 fucking years old. I'll probably wear them till I die. They got me. Not only do they feel great, I love how they look. I can't get enough. There are certain
the same thing when I get indoctrination. I'm like, they got me. Okay, fuck it. I say the same thing.
It's true. They got me, and I try to come to a realization. There are certain brands that I identify with, and through that, and when I went to college. I was going there for computer art and graphic design. So one of the things that I had to take was advertising. and they were very specific early about basically layout and subliminals just in advertising. And they go through and they show you the glass of whiskey that says sex with the fucking ice cubes inside, and all these different things that are put in there through Photoshop and other methods. And you're like, wow, yeah, that was something when I was like 19 years old. I was like, oh wow, that's pretty interesting. And then at the same time, the internet was blowing up. I had more access to documents, and I got into the MK Ultra rabbit hole, and I started reading those. And you're like, holy fucking shit. I mean, this is what they put on paper, and you start to realize it. And I've always kind of been interested in how the mind works and experimentation on that. And when you look at it, we are under mass psychological warfare. And our attention spans have gone down, and we got to combat it every day. I'm guilty. Listen, I always said this to everybody. You got to have like you said, you got to laugh, you got to have enjoyment, but you also have to realize your whole life isn't about sports, right? I love fucking MMA. I catch as many as I can, and it's manifested to the point where I'm calling fights. I think that's fucking awesome. I get to call fights like 5 times a year. Totally cool. Again, that didn't come from nowhere, me knowing my stuff, etc. I focused on that as a hobby, right? But if you're the guy that knows about the Yankees, the Knicks, the Giants, the Cowboys, and fucking everybody, everything else, and you're that disassociated with everything else around you, take a step back. We can all overcome our certain type of, I'd call them endorphin addictions, right? As a kid, I was a big gamer. Now it's kind of a hobby. You know what I mean? I got my nieces upstairs. We all got Switches for Christmas. There's some Mario Kart, but it's not over the top. I don't spend, my day. If anything, I'm now addicted to Dr. Mario, NES style, because I like the puzzle aspect of it. It gets my brain going. But at the same time, I find myself doing that for 3 hours. I'm like, put it the fuck down. What are you doing? But then I'm watching fucking the media, and I'm trying to do my job at the same time. And I wanted to end on this thought. So I'm watching the media last night, and they're talking about the Russian and Ukraine situation. And they start talking about Russia, not in a false flag situation, but an untraditional warfare of cyber attacks and shutting down the electricity and the infrastructure. Now, a lot of us in the alternative media for some time now have been talking about how these WEF characters otherwise have talked about a cyber pandemic and shutting off the power. I think that Russians, obviously domestic terrorists, etc., are the people that would be blamed. How likely do you think that is to occur in the short term? Do you think it's inevitable in the long term? And do you think that it may be dependent if a hot war breaks out with Russia in that region?
Oh, for sure. I don't know how long the outage would be, and I don't know if it would be national. I just have a hard time to believe that the powers that be would let us off their internet leash and their media leash for too long. I think one of the most dangerous things right now would be is that because we would start talking to our neighbors after a couple of days, we would start communicating and everything, and that would just be too much. And also surveillance. They want to fucking watch what we're doing and know what's going on. So I don't know if that would happen for too long. But I do think they would do like 3 days for food spoilage, because let's say there are people who do have food stocked up and meat stocked up. It would create a more traumatic experience. And if you read about MK Ultra, if you haven't, I seriously suggest you do. But trauma is what you do to reprogram, and it'd be a much more traumatic experience if everyone had to go food spoiled and there was less food, and it also creates a dependency. So I do think they'll do a food spoilage outage. Again, I don't know if it will be national or not, but
I don't think national. See, that's my thing. I think that you're correct that you have to corral the majority of the population. But if you had targeted instances of concentrated populations, a lot of people don't understand how small of a physical area New York City really is. And Long Island being on the other side, you have 10 million people in a very, very small area. California, it's a little wider, right? You could do that to an LA, you could do that to a San Francisco, but at the end of the day, yeah, the highways would be fucking jam-packed. Eventually people could get out, within 48 hours, 3 days. New York City, not likely. It's the Washington Bridge or the Lincoln Tunnel or get on a boat, right? Right. So that area is suspect. Even in
Yeah.
Texas, like let's say they did that in Dallas, that would be
Hmm.
huge in Dallas, but they could get out to places like San Antonio or Austin
Hmm.
or Houston and wide open. I think if you hit 3 to 4 major cities and the supply chain was really dependent on them, you would disrupt a lot of the country while still keeping the propaganda in place and have atrocities in large cities if you say had
Hmm.
anything over 2 weeks, right?
Hmm.
Because, as the days go by and as the conveniences go, you've already seen the lawlessness in New York City and other places grow. I
Yeah.
mean, look, New York City's a fucking crazy ass place. I remember being a kid going through there, seeing some of the, even the last time I was there, when John Fitch fucking got me and my brother cage side. We were sitting with the Gracie family with Henzo and his family. It's fucking awesome. On our way there,
My favorite grappler.
what's that? Oh, dude,
I used
and
to like. I used to be like. I used to love John Fitch. I used to watch fighting all the time, and I really actually kind of miss it. It's the only sport that I would start watching
you're
again.
gonna have to
It was
come and do a mixed martial mindset with us all together. It'd be fun. So
awesome.
yeah, yeah, definitely come and do that with us. It'd be great. So we're there, and even on the way down, right? So we're getting to Madison Square Garden. Place is kind of crazy. I mean, we wanted the authentic experience. So we went to go get meat on a stick. We're standing there for like 5 minutes, being fucking ignored. It's typical New York, packed fucking everywhere. And then finally, the dude gets up, gives it to us. Chicken's raw. So we throw those on the fucking ground, and we keep walking by. Then, as we're walking to the thing, after we went to I think it was the Waldorf Astoria, all the fighters were there. That's where Fitch gave us the tickets, and just a bunch of people there. My brother was getting pictures with like TJ Dillashaw and shit like that. We're having a good time. We walk out, and we're with a crowd, and some dude, again, if you've never been to New York City, you kind of don't know or prepared for these things, but people will roll up on you with the craziest ass shit. And this guy's missing half his fucking teeth on one side. His shirt's all fucking ripped. He's in like pants, and he's talking to my brother, telling him how he's a New York City fireman and he knows what district he's from. And my brother's not a New York City fireman. We're just like, yeah, okay, buddy. We're just keep going, keep going.
You go with it.
So we have a blast at MSG. It sucks that everything's Vax Pass because I would recommend some of the most magical times I've ever had have been in Madison Square Garden. It really does have that arena feel. It's one of those places. We leave. We leave, and we're going towards where our car's parked. And we're maybe a half mile away from the garden, and there is just a pile of half dried, half still wet blood and napkins on the sidewalk. Now, as this is happening, 50 Cent, who was at the arena because he presented a check, comes driving down in his limo, and everybody, 50, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like looking at all the blood, and there's 2 cops fucking 10 feet away from me smoking cigarettes. Just like there's fucking bloody fucking napkins like going through the street. And I'm just like, we need to get the fuck out of here, Adam. We go get our car, and you think you think the story's over. We get over the George Washington Bridge. All of a sudden, we just hear fucking sirens and 2 motorcycles. And I shit you not, we watched 2 motorcycles outrun police cars. That's New York City, guys. That's it. And if you think it got better after that with the restrictions and the lockdowns and the defunding, it didn't. It's fucking nightmarish there. You're not a New York City girl. You're South, right? You're a Florida.
Yeah, I was. Yep, I spent most of my. If I had to pick one place that I'm from, I spent most of my time in good old Florida. Though I moved around a lot.
Yeah.
Good old Jacksonville, Florida.
All right, we're going to end on this. What is your take on Florida and this COVID 1984 nightmare? Because a lot of people have made DeSantis into a hero. Obviously, I don't trust him. I was down in Florida. It did have a lot less restrictions, but again, it was in general areas that you saw people wearing masks or not. What's your take on Florida's response?
Yes, bullshit. Like again, he still let it go on for. It's like when people with Trump, like he's the one who put us on lockdown. But yeah, it wasn't that great in the beginning. It's a lot better now where I'm at. Anytime I haven't been in Miami for a while, but I used to go there all the time to get some tattoos. And yeah, they're all super mass Nazis down there. Like not a lot of the people, but a lot of the places to eat there, unless you go to really more ethnic place. It's easy to find. But in the more gentrified slash hood areas, then they're a little bit more lenient. But yeah, I don't think it's that great. The area that I'm in is okay because I live in a little more of a conservative beach town, and no one really cares about that shit. But yeah, if I go just where other places at, people will wear masks, but it's not really mandated. It's kind of hard to make you wear a mask. But yeah, outside of here, the more south you get and the more you go to a populated area, they're definitely are more following it.
Ugh. Ugh.
Yeah.
Sky, thank you so much for joining us. At
So,
Koin Daddy is where you can find her on Twitter for now. She'll probably be banned within several weeks, if not several days. Where do you want people to go check you out? Number one, you do have the Rockfin, and I would encourage people to go there because they can still tip you. I'm not sure if you're monetized on YouTube. Give us the spiel. Where can they find your stuff?
Coin Daddy on IG. I'm at Sky Zaddy with a Z, and then I also have an alternative page at Shitpost Daddy or Shitpost_Daddy. And yeah, I'll probably do some TikToks and see how long I can like not get kicked off of there. I already got kicked off once, but we'll try again.
I won't TikTok. I refuse. Well, I might expand into all that social media if I expand, but
I was resistant too. I understand.
Right now, I'm concentrating on like podcasts. In fact, you can find this in audio form after the fact, and I might even. We didn't. I don't think we broke any community guidelines. We might put this whole thing over on YouTube. So another great way to find me, Podbean. I almost took live calls for this one, but then again, I think I'm going to do that another time. We got a couple super chats we'll go over after we let Sky go, but we got to do this more often than not. And I'm serious.
Yeah, sure.
Mondays at, what is it? We do it Mondays at 3 my time. That would be 2 your time on the East Coast. With Mixed Martial Mindset. Get at me with the next few weeks, and we'll definitely book you on that show, and we'll have a fun 3-way conversation for an hour. Sound good?
Sounds great. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much, Sky. Guys, she rocks. You got to go follow her stuff. She's funny as fuck. That matters in today's society. I enjoy that kind of thing. And I want to say thank you to the Tipskis and Hutch here, including Occult Priestess, whose program I'm going to be on tomorrow. She says, keep bringing the revelations. That was yesterday, actually. Mary Erickson yesterday as well. We also have OTR Trucker. All of the inflation we're currently experiencing is a result of the combination of profiteering and pandemic-related labor shortage with monetary oversupply. Debt is unnecessary and irrelevant. And the cure is to tax dollars out of existence, preferably from the people who made the most out of the pandemic. We also want to say Leonard Trust Fund. Thank you so much for that tip. Guys, you know the drill. It's not about left or right. It's always about right and wrong. We must become the great resistance to this very real great reset agenda. I love you all, and I will see you on the flip side.